You're listening to the Career Musician Podcast with creator and host, Nomad. With 20 plus years of experience in the music industry, Nomad has done just about everything to earn a living as a career musician. From being music director to celebrity artists, playing iconic arenas and stadiums, composing for film and TV, and even playing your average local club gigs, he's done it all. Nomad's mission is to empower musicians across the globe with strategies for a sustainable career, while blasting stereotypes, and to bring you tried and true wisdom from his colleagues in this crazy business we call music.
On this episode of the Career Musician Podcast, I have my good buddy JQ Smith, songwriter, producer extraordinaire, and he's written a lot of hits with a lot of famous celebrity musicians. Jennifer Lopez, Beyoncé, Fantasia, Ciara, Avant, Ariana Grande, Britney Spears, Usher, and Omarion, just to name a handful. Man, I remember meeting JQ at the studio, Babyface's studio here in Hollywood, probably almost 10 years ago. And we just hit it off ever since. And now he's doing a really cool thing with CrossFit. And he trained me on this day. You'll hear all about it on this episode of the Career Musician Podcast.
Nomad here with JQ Smith. He just kicked my ass in a cross-training routine, WOD as they call it, workout of the day, over at his place. He's got a whole gym set up in his garage and in his driveway. It's amazing. He literally kicked my ass. I mean, one of the greatest workouts I've ever done. We're breaking bread now together. Actually, no bread, all protein and veggies. And he's so gracious to share his story. JQ, I mean, you and I work together in the studio, writing here and there, on and off. But I think we just hit it off as pals, just friends. Yeah. It's like, man, we have a lot in commn. We're both in that same age. And Dads Against Dad Bod is your new endeavor.
Yes, Dad Against Dad Bod. Got to do a little better, aim a little higher, work a little harder.
I love it. But you're a tried and true songwriter whose craft is the craft of music and lyric writing, correct?
Yes, absolutely.
And then we were just talking about the clutch. So tell us how you got started. And you're from originally?
I'm an Army brat. So everywhere. I was born in North Carolina. Exactly. Born in North Carolina, but raised in North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, Alabama, Chicago, Wiesbaden, Germany. Like I've lived a little bit of everywhere. I've moved around my entire life.
Gotta love that, man.
Oh, it sucked then, but it's awesome now because you can pretty much drop me anywhere and I'm just comfortable meeting and talking. Yes, meeting.
Well, I noticed that about you. You're a great communicator. You're really easy to talk to. Super down to earth. For the amount of number ones that you had on the charts, you could be a dick, and you're not. So that's amazing. I always love that. So you were telling me about the Clutch, whose group that you co-founded with your friends. And did you guys start in Atlanta or LA, or where did that all transpire?
It was crazy. It kind of came together. It was a fluke. I remember the BMI Awards were coming up. I was receiving awards for Song of the Year for a record I wrote called Yeah for Usher, or co-wrote called Yeah for Usher. And my publisher said they wanted to put together a writing camp. We'd never heard of a writing camp. But they were like, we're taking 3 writers from the publisher I was signed to, Hitco, L.A. Reid. And they were taking 3 writers from the university, 3 writers that they thought were bubbling, that played well with others. So they stuck us in the studios the weekend of Katrina. It was the weekend of Katrina. Yeah, they stuck us in the studio. For that weekend, I want to say we wrote 6 songs, recorded 5. We left Sunday. By Tuesday, 4 of the records were placed.
That's, first of all, it's unheard of. They're talking about like progress and momentum that keeps you fueled when it's right?
Yes, but for us, we were all just kind of like, wow. So I remember calling Zeke, who is now, I'm going to say, senior vice president at Epic.
Wow.
So I remember calling Zeke and calling Carrie Hilson, who was my main writing partner at the time. And having a conversation and going, that was pretty cool. We got those records placed pretty quickly. Maybe we should try to do this, once every other month or once a month. And they were like, yeah, let's do that. Because it was J record. No, Sony. It was Sony who had paid to have us out.
Nice.
So we went back home, and I want to say the next week, publishers hit us and said, hey, we got a call from Larry Jackson over at J Records. They just heard about this writing session that you guys had. They wanted to know why they weren't involved.
Huh.
So, pack your bags. They're flying you to L.A. They want you guys to do it again. So we were like, oh, okay. And we flew out to L.A. and we wrote. We weren't as efficient that time, but we still walked away with like 3 or 4 records. We wrote more records that time. But we still walked away with 3 or 4
Placements. Right?
Yeah. And we kind of looked at each other and we're going, yo, this is pretty cool. So we went home. 2 weeks passed. Our phone rings again. And this time it's Interscope A&M. It's like, yo, Interscope Geffen A&M. It's like, yo, we're trying to figure out why we heard about this and we weren't involved. So they set us up in Atlanta.
And word is literally going around the whole circle of the industry.
And that week, we wrote a record for Mary J. Blige called Take Me As I Am. And it was our first hit. So the second that happened, we were kind of like, yo, maybe we should do this a little more often. And then before we knew it, like our phone was ringing weekly, and we ended up being, for the most part, booked. Let's see, there are 52 weeks in a year. Booked maybe 45 weeks a year, like for the next 3 or 4 years.
Incredible.
And along the way, like I remember Zeke and I being in the room going, yo, we need a name for this. Oh, it happened during the J Records thing. We're like, we need a name for this, man. Like, we need a name that's going to be cool. And we're sitting in the room like, what do we need? And I was like, it needs to be like basketball, like when it's 2 seconds left and you're down, or 3 seconds left and you're down by 2 points, we want the ball. When you need the single, hit us, give us.
Wow.
And he said, like a clutch play. And I looked at him and said, clutch. No, he said clutch. And I looked at him and said, no, the clutch. And we went, woo!
That's it.
And we went back the next day and told them to start putting the clutch on the doors. We were at Record Club. And then people kind of knock and open the door and be like, who's the clutch? And then we were really blessed. Like I said, I was coming off of a monster year, and Billboard wanted to do a write-up for me.
Wow.
And it was Gail Mitchell, and I called Gail, and I said, hey, instead of doing it on me, why don't you do it on my new company, my new crew? And she was like, well, I don't really know. That's not what we've been doing to do. And I was like, well, just check us out. And she was like, well, shoot me something.
Okay.
And I sent everyone's discography, and we had just taken pictures. I sent her a picture, and she hit me back immediately and was like, this looks amazing. And she posted it, or not posted it, but she printed it, ran with the story. And then all of a sudden, they were just, like I said, people were calling left and right. So we were just really busy.
That's amazing.
And we had to we had to figure it out along the way. So a lot of mistakes, a lot of messing up. So we're learning, okay, we definitely need a rule about that. We need to figure out what the laws are that govern this, that, we figure out how to move so that no one person is damaging the collective.
I love that.
You know what I mean? So it fell into place in a way that we weren't expecting. And our chemistry, nobody believes me when I tell them what it was like at the end, the way we wrote. When we finally figured out what we did and how we did it, we would literally write like this. We'd come in, they play music, and we go, that one. Everybody be like, cool. We'd sit down. Usually it was Balewa that would come up with an idea. Like he just always, conceptually, he was like a god among men. He always knew what to talk about. And B would go, well, let's call it this. Let's do a song like, I want to write Like a Boy. Talking about the fact that, guys get away with so much crap, but if a girl did it, sometimes she wishes she could act like a boy. Let's call it like a boy. It's like, yo, that's dope. So we'd say that. We kind of all back up. In most cases, we knew Zeke was going to attack the hook. B would get a verse. I'd get a verse, or I'd do the B. I always wrote the bridge. But we would literally just go to four corners of the room.
Wow.
We tell them to play the music. We didn't listen to what each other wrote. We just all wrote what we wanted to write, as long as we knew what the subject was. And then we came together, and we'd be like, play it, and we just sing it down to each other. Like when you sing, and people would ask us, yo, your parts, your songs are great because it feels like your transitions, like feels like a whole nother song. It's because we didn't sit together and write. Everyone was a master at what they did, not because some of them were absolutely blessed or gifted. I am not a gifted writer. I think I'm a very talented guy. You know what I mean? But I feel like I write the way I do because I do a lot of studying. It's not like, I feel like the music is taking me here. No, all of my shit is very thought out. Like I'm very cerebral when I write. Kenny is crazy because I believe that there are two types of creators. There are magicians and there are scientists. I believe both, solve problems. But a magician, I believe you are a magician. I've seen you play.
Two kinds.
You play, and I don't even know if you know why you're playing what you play. It just feels right.
It just pops in there.
That doesn't make sense to me.
Really?
Not at all. To me, I sit down and people ask, well, how? Well, me, I know I don't know anything, but when we start talking, if you want a pop record, specifically if they're talking pop, cool, off of rip, I'm telling you, when the chorus drops, it's not going to be like one, and no. On the one, you need to start whatever you're doing. I want to start on the one. Most pop records, huge pop records, that's where it starts. Like the way that it feels, the record is moving changes. You know what I mean? A lot of urban records, it's one and then.
Great analysis.
For me, I do a lot of that with records. Like I'll listen. Like when you're asking me about, was I listening to Van Halen or the Black Crowes? Yeah, but when I listen, I'm listening not just because I like it. I want to know why this record,
why it worked.
Yes. And if I can figure out why it worked, then when I listen to another record and figured out why that works, I can start figuring out what the common threads are.
Yeah. So it's a formulaic approach.
Exactly.
Yeah, absolutely. But it's still a gift. It's still a gift. Okay. I love that. If I may.
Yeah.
I love how you say there's magicians and scientists.
Yes.
And I really
Kenny is a bit of both.
And that's what I was just going to say. I do believe that. I believe I have a little bit of both. I believe you have a little bit of both.
I definitely do. I appreciate it.
I've seen you thing too.
Here's the thing.
Because
I've worked with me my entire life. Entire life.
I'll give you that. So maybe you don't have both. Maybe you're just a formulaic guy. But here's where the talent comes in. So I assimilate talent with gift. Okay. It takes a talented ear to know what to listen for in the first place. And it takes a talented ear to know how to decipher all the results of your analytics. Because let me tell you something, the average J or Q or JQ or Mr. Smith or Mrs. Smith's hanging around at the restaurant, if you tell them all this, they're not going to know what the fuck you're talking about.
But they
can't even hear it to analyze it.
But this is what I'm talking about. When I said earlier when we were running that I believe life is really about concepts. And I believe if you can grasp a concept, you can apply it to anything.
But it's still I feel like people
but
of that concept that was bestowed upon you.
But to me, it's just about grabbing the concept. I believe that if you, and it's very, and again, I tell you, I sit around and I just think about things like this, so I don't want you or the listener to think that I'm a dirtbag, because I swear I'm not. But I believe that you can get anyone to do anything if you just pay attention. I don't think people understand that. Like, there are a lot of absolutely beautiful people, beautiful women, beautiful men. Some of those beautiful women and beautiful men have issue with the fact that all people ever see is the beauty. They don't see them. In a lot of cases, if you can understand a person's need, like I used to have a friend that she's the most amazing person in the world. All she ever really needed, she didn't like to eat alone. Like she was very financially stable, very pretty, very charismatic. She danced professionally. Her family just came to learn it. She just did not like being alone all the time. Now, I was her friend, period, anyway. But once you start feeling that need, hey, you want to eat? Yeah, we could. No, how about we just, if you're cool, let's just go cook some food. Once you give someone something that they need,
Interesting.
if you were to take that need away, that person, like a drug addict, will do whatever is necessary to get that need fulfilled again. To me, it's all about paying attention. It's all about listening.
Really? Well said.
That made sense to me early in college. I just applied that concept to music.
The laws of psychology just shifted over to another concept.
I believe life in general is about concept. If you can grasp a concept, it'll make, like, relationships may not make sense. You know what I mean?
Honestly, we could end the podcast right there, and that's all the knowledge anyone needs. Thank you, Mr. JQ. That was amazing. I mean, seriously, bro. That's brilliant.
Brilliant. I feel like if you just take pieces and apply them, things just make more sense.
Yeah.
Like, there are a lot of things that are confusing. Like us working out. When I was telling you about the reps.
Yeah.
To me, 12 isn't a crazy high number, but when you get towards the end and you're dying, it's a crazy high number.
Especially when you have to take breaks in between to get there. Yeah.
But for us, like, sometimes we do this one workout called Merge, where it's a 1 mile run, 100 pull-ups, 200 push-ups, 300 squats, and another mile run. That's
murder.
It's daunting as hell. But if you sit down and turn it into 10 pull-ups, do 10 pull-ups, do 10 pull-ups, break it down. Stop looking at the big picture. Understand that little piece. Like, same way when you were jumping rope. I'm not going to jump rope and try to count to 100. I'm not going to worry about the 100. Let's get this 25 out. When I get to this 25, if I feel good, let's see if we can get to another 25. I'm not worried about the 100. Stop worrying about worry about what you can control.
I mean, as cliche it is, baby steps. Every journey of 1,000 steps begins with the first one.
Exactly.
Or 1,000 miles, however it goes.
The thing is, baby steps is actually brilliant. Because I talked to my daughter about this. She was getting really frustrated. Like I was saying, the hula hoop that you saw.
Yes.
She got a hula hoop because she was watching some of the hula hoop and then got really upset because she couldn't hula hoop. And I remember sitting down and talking with her where she was frustrated. And I was like, I said, you've seen Daddy out here working out. I don't always get it, do I? She was like, no. I said, but you see me keep trying. Then I get it. I said, it's just like when you were learning to walk.
Beautiful.
I said, you kept falling, but you never quit. And look at you now. I can run. You can run. So to me, baby steps is actually brilliant. It's about babies, even the mentality.
The mentality.
Yeah, because a baby doesn't know to quit. A baby doesn't know they don't know that's a choice.
See, now,
they push.
Now you're dissecting that formula and expounding on this concept, and that's beautiful. That's exactly what it is. You just said that's the magic of that formula.
Yeah.
It's doing one little thing at a time without knowing that quitting is an option.
Here's the thing. It's not. I saw 40% rule.
Yes.
When someone feels like that's it, they've still got like 40% more in the tank. I feel like I get it that you want to quit because you dip below your halfway point. So your body goes into freak out mode. I get that. But it is a mental thing. You can push past. But I saw you do it today. There was a point when we were working out where I was like, okay, I think this is it. And you gather yourself, and all the frustration disappeared, and your face went back to a calm place, and you went back to work. And I was like, I have a lot of friends that come over, and when they get to that place, it's like, I'm done.
Yeah.
I'm done. I can't.
So you don't make it too?
Man,
that's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what? So I know a lot of people,
No. Yeah.
He does know everybody.
He does know everybody.
He's like the mayor of LA.
Absolutely.
And I'm guessing Atlanta too.
Absolutely not. But
That's right.
It's a small circle.
That's right.
Small circle.
I
Hope Major Win is here. Oh, me too. What?
gotta check him out. Major?
Yes.
That's what he goes by. That's his artist name.
His voice is incredible.
Oh, man.
His voice is incredible.
Sign up for the Career Musician newsletter at thecareermusician.com.
Join the Career Musician Facebook group and get involved in the conversation.
So, but I didn't get there without these small, persistent steps that we're talking about.
Yeah.
I've been doing this now for 5 years. The CrossFit-ish type training.
Yeah. The high intensity.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
And through all my trainers, 3 different trainers, I learned that, what you just said that I did. Had I not learned that, I would have given up. I would not have been able to push and grab that other 40% out.
Exactly.
I would not have. I had to learn that. But that took, like you said, it takes you how many years to get out of shape? It might not take you the exact amount of time to get in shape,
Right.
but don't expect to get in shape in 6 months.
It doesn't happen then.
Don't even expect to get in the shape you want in 18 months. It might take you 24, 36 months. It might take you 3, 4, 5 years to get to where you really want to be.
The thing that upsets me is, and it's not just with working out, like, and I won't even say just upsets me because, be clear, I absolutely adore Instagram. I love Instagram.
Yeah.
But I think people, Instagram is not real life. It's like a movie that's based on a true story. It's not a true story. It's based on a true story.
Well, yeah.
So I feel like a lot of times people see it, and then they see these people who have been killing themselves to be in shape for 7 years, who get on there and go, "Hey, if you just drink this juice, you'll look." No, bro, you won't look. You won't. You won't. Don't believe any of that.
It's just like the infomercials on TV, right?
Absolutely.
You get this workout apparatus, and you too can look like this ripped person. Come on.
You're not gonna look like that, bro. Like, I talked to some of my female friends about that. So they're like, "Yo, I would work out, I want to lift weights, but I don't want to look like a man.
I want to be all big and bulky." It's not gonna happen.
As a dude that lifts, do you understand how difficult it is for me to look big and bulky? Do you understand how you have to lift, how you have to eat,
The kind of weight you have to push, and the kind of calories you have to intake.
for your body to do that?
That's right.
So, like, look at all your favorite movie stars.
Right.
Gal Gadot, she lifts a lot. She don't look like a man, bro. Scarlett Johansson, Lord have mercy.
Lift is not.
My personal favorite, Jennifer Love Hewitt. Oh, when I moved to LA, I told my wife, not before I moved, when I first came, I told my wife that I was going to find her house. She said, "Don't bother that woman." "Oh, I'm not. I'm going to marry her."
Oh man, I love it. I love it, JQ. I honestly think, and don't take this the wrong way, that's what attracted me to you, your honesty. Because I'm the same way. I wear this like a badge of honor.
Yeah.
I'm from New York. I'm Cuban, Italian, New York.
Right.
You know, everything's from New York. Always fucking.
Right.
Hey, Joey, what the fuck you doing here? Fuck you. Now, come on, let's go have a beer.
Exactly.
What? You just cursed me out. Now you want to go have a beer?
But that's the way it's supposed to be.
Yes.
That's the way it's supposed to be.
It doesn't matter where you're from. If you have that kind of realness, that's what it's about.
The thing is, for me, I just realized that I could have shaved years off of my growth, not just as a musician, but as a person. If people would have told me, like, the uncomfortable truth. So I like to surround myself with people that respect me.
Yes.
But in that respect, I'm going to be honest with you. Like, I love my wife because, be clear, she doesn't let shit slide. She is ridiculously understanding, but she knows what I am capable of, and she holds me accountable to it. No ifs and buts about it. Well, you should have done better. But no, you should have done better.
Sounds like my wife, and I love that trait.
You
need that accountability.
You have to have. You know what I mean? You keep talking to me about Peacocks and wanting to get in with Peacocks and my relationship. Well, my relationship with Brian is like that because before Brian had any hits, I was writing to his demos. Like, so we both grew together. That's why we're friends the way we are. So you may write, and you may write something that's great, but don't expect to have that type of relationship. You need to build with somebody.
Right.
You know, just find somebody that that you dig what they do, and then add to that. No, I know. And then when that shit goes, everybody goes. You know what I mean?
Everybody goes. Yeah.
Yeah. If you like the other guys we were talking about earlier, no. I just was about to say names and it was like,
Yeah. Well, because the information you're giving is perfect.
Yeah.
So I don't want to.
So to me, like with the guys that we were talking about earlier, if they built their machine to work a certain way, you know what I mean? Well, let's go back to the car.
Right.
They built their car to drive a certain way. Yeah, from time to time they may put a tint on it, or they may put a new rim on it. But their car is always going to be the car. Those are interchangeable parts of the car. Works. You got to become part of the machine. And you're like, as opposed to an add or something that can be switched, in and out.
It's articulated perfectly. When I was in Nashville, I was a part of a machine from the ground up. And the dude was in a rebranding process, much like we talked about somebody else. And I caught him right at the beginning of that rebrand. And he saw what I had, and I saw what he had. And we both looked at it and just clicked. Next thing you know, album after album, hit every song.
To me, like, I don't mind talking to it, too. Because to me, the only thing that's ever held him back, and it might be because of the system that for my company, the Clutch, that was our thought process the entire time. Look, we can just get more done if there are more. There's just, and my personal thought process has always been that a brand can always be bigger than a person. Like, build the team. Like, your hat says Chuck. If you and Dude and B or a young kid decided to make a unit, if we were able to put together material that mattered, there could come a point in time where you don't feel like being a man is doing that anymore.
Right.
But people buying the chugging. So you just replace, you still take a piece off of what's going on, and the company moves forward. You know what I mean? So to me, it's about building something that you don't have to be there to run every
babysit.
Yes. So to me, it makes sense to move that.
Well, I learned it early on from that same producer I was working with in Nashville. He would always say, a small percentage of something better than a large percentage. I'll tell you, that's the creed, right?
Truth. That is a truth. Like with the Clutch, we learned early that, and it's one of the reasons that we work so much. We learned, at least in the beginning, how to put ego aside.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Here's the thing. Inside of that unit, there was one dude that still to this day has the most impressive catalog of artists. There was a girl who was blowing up as an artist. There was one girl who Timbaland was in love with, and she still to this day is one of my favorite co-writers ever. It was me. I was coming off of the biggest record in the world. So any of us could have got in the room and copped an attitude. Any of us could have got in the room and been like, no, I feel like this. But we messed around and learned that if we just kind of worked as a unit, that we can get so much more done. You know what I mean? It turned into, okay, well, as opposed to let's fight over, well, I wrote this, so I deserve 33%. Why don't we do this? So by the end, it was, if you were there, you're on the record, it's an even split. And it turned into, so this is what we're going to do. We'll bring a writer in, and we'd all sit down and write a record for that writer. I mean, for that artist. Right. They'd come in, I would record on that artist, they would go to another room, begin writing a whole nother song. When we finished this song, the artist would come out, and it doesn't take me long to cut an artist. I'm pretty quick.
Right.
They'd come out, and we'd have a whole nother song. So the label would be like, okay, well, let's
do two in the time of doing one. Yeah.
And by the time we got really rolling, we only went in with the artist. We didn't go into just write anymore. Mm-hmm. But in the beginning, one of the reasons that we got so much hype was in the beginning, we would just split into 2 rooms. Like if we were working at Grammy-winning, give us 2 rooms, tell us what we're writing. Carrie and I would go into a room, Nick and Candace would go. In that day, they would write 2 or 3 songs, we would write 2 or 3 songs. So every day you were getting between like 4 and 6, 4 and 7 songs. So labels just started asking for it just because we turned around so much material. And after we started to understand that, after we stopped treating it like this is the only song, the last song, when we got out of the greedy phase and it turned into, look, if we just split it down the middle, we'll get way more done. At that point in time, you're not worried about what they're doing over there, what it does to something. Just focus on stay in your lane, stay in my lane, kill.
We work together as a unit.
And we began to kill. You know what I mean?
So that is basically the essence of the Clutch. You're writing production company.
Yes. Yeah, we were blessed enough. I want to say maybe and all the records didn't come out, but I want to say our busiest year, we may have placed around 70 records.
70?
Yeah. Like we did a lot of work. Wow. We did a lot of work.
In 1 year?
Yeah. And it was all an accident. Clutch was an accident. Like 70, maybe 80% of what I'm capable.
Okay.
It doesn't happen very often that I'm like, all right, today we're just going to see what we're capable of. My game plan is just to maintain my fitness.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
That is it.
And I just don't, and I know I'm nobody's trainer. I am going to go get certified. But
say you should.
I want to.
You should, because you're really good. You have a great demeanor.
It's kind of like, to me, it's kind of like producing vocals.
Yeah.
I think I produce vocals a little differently than some of my friends because I spent years on the other side of the microphone.
That's right.
And there are certain ways, like friends ask me all the time, yo, why are you just holding the talk back there? Because you don't understand what it's like to just be in there, hearing everybody, seeing everybody laugh. And I don't know if they're laughing at me. I don't know what's going on. So I'll just hold the talk back down just so they hear something else. In there, you feel like you're on an island. So there are just little things that is so amazing. And that is my approach to fitness. Like, I remember, I work out. Dwayne is way stronger than me. Harv's conditioning is way better than mine. So when I work out with those guys, I'm getting my ass kicked no matter what we're doing.
So amazing.
So when I work out with people, I try to deal with them the same way that, because Harv is just competitive. Harv is going to kick your ass and let you know you got your ass kicked. And I love that about him because I'm competitive. You know what I mean?
I just saw somebody I know something.
Oh yeah.
But I gotta speak. I gotta speak on that. Oh my goodness! All right, you just said Harv is competitive.
Yes.
And who else?
Dwayne.
Okay, I don't know Dwayne. I know Harvey. First of all, Harvey Mason Jr. Probably Greek goddess physique.
Yes, absolutely.
Ridiculous.
Absolutely.
Now he's always been an athletic type person, right?
But Harv is fucking 50.
I was just going to say that. So that's the testament to what we're doing.
Yes.
You can live a long, fulfilled, healthy life.
Mm-hmm.
I'm telling you,
Harv was the one that set me on the path that I'm on. And when I have questions or have any of that, Harv is the one that I talk to. Because if he, you can't tell me that it's not possible because I see something all the time. Just because it's not possible for you, or because you believe it's not possible for you, does not mean it's not possible. It's like when I told them when I was younger, and I told my guidance counselor in high school I wanted to do music, and she told me what I needed to do was get my head out. That's some cold-blooded shit to tell a kid.
That's terrible.
You know what I mean?
She just crushed your dreams.
Now I got to go back to the high school and have a conversation with them.
I say, look where my head is now.
Right.
It's so far up, you can't see it.
Just tell them all the time. I was like, look, you have to understand that your guidance counselors are doing, she was doing what she felt was best for you. So I understand. And without trying to sound cold, and I told them this when I went back to the school, I was like, don't let anybody put their limitations in. I said, now that needs to be, understand that needs to be said within reason. Like, you need to follow wherever your gift is. Like, my passion was, I'm going to be an amazing basketball player. Bro, you're 5'9", don't have jumping ability like that. You just, maybe the NBA isn't for you.
That's reassessing things. Yeah,
you love it, but that's not what you're supposed to do. It's like, but if you have a real passion for it and you have a gift, if your talent makes you that way. I was like, because here's the whole thing. I believe people.
I'm sorry. Did you just say that you have a gift?
I said music. I said if your gift leads you that way.
Did you just say you have a gift?
No, I never said I have a gift. You can go back and listen.
Sorry, JQ. I still believe you have a gift.
And I understand. I received that.
I had to get you.
I knew you were going to. That's why, because I said it. I was like, if your gift leads you that way and your eyes went. I said, your talent pushes you that
I
direction.
believe they're synonymous, but I get it.
I just, like I told him, like, the real of it is that I said this could be hurtful to some people.
Yeah.
Because I'm from, like, I graduated from a small town in Alabama. I'm like, you can't tell me that everybody working here in the school when they were a kid was like, I want to grow up and be an English teacher at Sam's. I was like, and that's not to slight anything. I said for me, it was actually one of the people that had the most profound effect in my life was my AP, Miss Circus, my AP history teacher. She was the first person not related to me to hold me accountable. Like to hold me accountable.
When you have that, that's an invaluable.
And I thought that in the beginning, I just felt like she was picking on me because it was like a college class. So everybody could sit where they wanted to. You could talk if you wanted to. She didn't run a real tight class, but she was like, this is what college is like. But this is your syllabus, and you have to have this done. And I didn't do what I was supposed to do. Her whole thing was, she was like, what you were capable of was that B minus that you had, I'd leave you alone. But you can have an A+ in this class.
No.
She was like, you're getting a B- skating by, doing the bare minimum. And she helped me. She like, I was the only person with an assigned seat in the class. I had to sit right in front of her. But by the end of the year, I felt like I understood it.
Right.
You know what I mean?
I know exactly what you mean. I had a very, very similar, several teachers in my life that made that kind of an impact, and including my father. That's invaluable. That's an amazing thing. So this ties in again with those competitive natured spirits. You said you have.
Yes.
I truly believe I have. I know I have it. And I believe when you have it. When you look at somebody and you're like, hey, nothing, I can do that. And it's like, it's almost like this curse.
Oh, absolutely. Right? My wife hates it.
My wife says the same thing. She's like, really, dude, just calm down. It's not a competition.
I mean, it's absolutely a competition. What the fuck are you talking about? If we pull up at a light and that light is red and you pull up next to me, I don't give a fuck if you know it, bro. We're racing. We're racing. And you about to get this work.
I think I've let go of the traffic one. Like, I'm not competitive in traffic. I've learned how to just ease back. For some reason, though, in every other aspect of my life, I'm definitely competitive.
I'm competitive. It does not rule me anymore. But I'm competitive.
Right. I agree
about everything. It's one of the reasons that I love working out with, like, specifically when we go to Korea all the time. Harv, Dwayne, and I work out every day together.
Okay.
In Korea, and
that's nice.
It's so difficult for me because they're so strong.
See,
they're so fast. You know what I mean? But it gives me something
to work towards.
Yeah, like now, like when we first got together, I would never have thought of hopping under 225. On a bench during the workout. But now, every now and then, it's all right, like during birthdays.
Rack 'em.
It's birthday.
Yeah.
One of the movements in my birthday is going to be, you have to press 225 43 times, bro. When you get done with that 43, you can move on to the next stage. I can do that now. It takes a long time. It takes a long time. But I can do that.
Define a long time.
At best, you're going to get 5 or 6 reps from me every time.
Over the course of 20 minutes, you're talking? 30 minutes? 10 minutes?
Maybe 10.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, first of all, JQ's concept of time is skewed. Because when you say long time, I'm thinking 20, 30 minutes. You said 10 minutes. That's not a long time. So, the point being...
Maybe it's 20 minutes. You know, when
the point being that everybody has different levels.
Yes.
And you can't be the best version of yourself, you said it earlier, until you grow.
Yeah,
absolutely. And the only way you can grow is by being around people who are more excelled in something.
You have to be. I think the reality of it is growth happens outside of your comfort zone. That's just the reality of it. So it's like when we were talking today, when I saw the workout, I was like, yo, this is going to suck. Because I don't like pushing. But I know when it shows up, the fact that I'm like, I know that's what I need to be doing. Because if there would have been 6 sets of 10 pull-ups, I'd have been happy. I'd have been like, good.
See, I'm the opposite. I can handle the push, can't handle the pull. So when I saw there was only one set of push-ups, I was like, pull-ups,
I can get that. Yeah. So it's like, but again, I think the people around you change you. Like Kenny, being able to write with Kenny nearly daily for a couple of years, it seemed like, made me better. It made me better in a way that if I would have written 10 years without him, it wouldn't have. I would have gotten better, but I wouldn't have had the same growth. Like Kenny has probably got more about writing than I've learned. Like he's a wealth of knowledge. It's amazing to me because he has a better mastery of the English language than anyone I've ever met. He knows how to get a point across in the fewest words possible. How to make it feel something in the fewest words possible.
I can attest to that. I've known him for some odd 10, 11 years.
Yeah.
Even in the few deep conversations I've had, when he does sit down and have that conversation, he paints that picture so vividly and quickly.
Right.
And effortlessly. It's that he doesn't labor over his point.
Right. There's just, it's just like working out with Dwayne and Harvey. Writing with Kenny is the same thing. He's so strong and so fast. He has such a mental clarity that it's nuts. Like, it's nuts. Last time we sat down, it was last week, we wrote with JoJo. Yeah. The way that he got to what the record was about, I'd never seen it. Like, we're talking, and he begins to ask questions that literally make her, she begins to cry. But they're questions that I would have never thought to ask specifically for writing a song like it was about a party, a past loved one. And it was like, what smells remind you? Yeah, but, what, is it the cold weather? Is it the first? But the questions that he's asking are so specific, and he's approaching, it's like a boxer. You're prepared to get hit from here, but when you're prepped for here and they hit you with a little sidestep and catch you up, there's just no way to be prepared for that. I know she wasn't ready because I wasn't ready, and he wasn't talking to me. I just sat there and was like, I told him, I was like, every time I see you do this, it just reminds me of how much more I have to learn, how much further I have to go. Like, it's ridiculous.
He's so gracious with it, though. He doesn't flaunt it.
He has flaunted on me once.
Okay. He'll flex every once in a while, but only for fun.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. We were having an argument about a lyric, and I think one of the reasons that Kenny keeps me around is I'm comfortable voicing my disagreements.
You good?
Box, please. I'm very comfortable voicing my disagreements.
Good.
Like, if I don't like it or if I don't agree, I'll be like, nah, that's not it.
It's part of that honesty G we're talking about. Yeah.
So we're going back and forth over this lyric, and I'm like, this is it. He's like, that's not it. This is it. And he goes to say something, or he says something about it, and I go, and he goes, no, say what you're going to say. and I can't remember the exact words, but it was something like, look, people may have said that in the 90s, but that's not how it gets down anymore. And then he broke me down so
Hard.
oh my
Yeah, he likes to do that once in a while.
cut me deep, swift and deep, Ginsu. Straight Ginsu, just I was like,
That's
And
hilarious.
then I think he may have got up to walk out of the room because we're in a room full of people. And understand, I'm loud because he's like, he keeps telling me I'm wrong. And I'm like, no, if I'm not wrong, I'm not backing down. So I'm like, no. And he's like, well, I don't care. What you need to understand. And I'm loud. And then when he said it and it clicked, like he said something that I couldn't argue with. Like he checkmate, point proof.
It's like we are a cleaver. There's big cleaver.
Yes.
Because I have the same experience.
Yes.
And he's a fillet knife.
Yeah, just, and you're like,
Wait, because one cleaver's like strong arm, and then he just, and you don't even
right, you don't need all of that.
and then you realize your arm just got cut off.
And you didn't feel it. And I look at him, and he gets up, and everybody, when he says it, I go, yeah. And he goes,
Can't even.
and he gets up, and everybody's like, ooh. He turns around and goes, and walks out. And I'm like, I was like, I deserve them. That one was me. That was me. I don't know if he said the motherfucker. I might be. I know it was a while ago. So, but he cut me deep.
Awesome.
He cut me deep. It hurt.
Cut me deep. Cut me deep.
It hurt.
Remember that one? Eddie Murphy?
Yeah.
Wow. That's awesome.
But it's the same thing. But I think you have to stay around those people
You do.
if you want to get better. I think you have to learn. And I mean, as creatives,
Yeah.
we all have an ego. Like you have to have an ego to sit down in front of someone knowing that they've received 1,500 songs and go, yeah, I know you got those, but this is the one. You don't need those. I'm the one. I am the chosen. You have to have some type of ego to look someone in the eye and believe that.
You have to be a narcissist in a sense.
Yes.
It has to. It has to.
But to be around those people and to grow, you have to be able to let go of that ego. You have to be able to understand. I won't even go any further. You have to be able to understand.
It's a fine line, isn't it?
Yes.
Between egoless and that narcissistic, cocky thing.
Mm-hmm.
You have to know when to cross that line, when not to cross
Yes.
it. And God bless you. If you cross it at the wrong time,
Oh,
you're done.
it's crazy because I kind of feel like there was definitely a point in time in my life when I was arrogant.
Yeah.
And I was wildly, like, I was more sure of myself than I needed to.
Right.
And I've just, thank you so much. And I've learned that along the way, my dad used to say it to me, the more I know, the less I realize I know less. You know what I mean? When I was younger, I was talking to a friend of mine about this yesterday. She was talking this and this and this and this and this. And I said, you're, what, 28? About to be 30, maybe 38. She was like, I'm 28. I said, yeah. She said, how? I said, I was the same way. I said, but I said, at that age, everything was so black and white to me. I said, the older you get, the more gray you see. Like, you just learn to...
It's a great quote.
Yeah, you realize there's more gray out there than you care to admit. It's a lot like politics. Like people, here's the thing, man. I'm not a Democrat, but I'm not a Republican. And I think there are a lot of people that are neither, but they don't really give you another box to check. So they just pick one of them. Like, I have my own views.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's that gray. I think when you get older, you learn to acknowledge that gray.
That's right.
Like, be clear, I think Trump has done an incredible job of running this shit horribly. Like, with that being said, I don't understand near the pressure that he's under.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I won't joke too much about it.
Right. Right.
But
I always say that too. Everybody can criticize politicians. You never know what it's like till you're in the hot seat. I don't care what office you're in. President, mayor, Congress, Senate. It doesn't matter what office. You can criticize.
yes.
Unless you live that life. That's what you do on a daily basis. You just don't know.
Yeah. And I think you and I, even though we've never done, or at least I know I haven't, done the political thing, I think we get to have a different appreciation for that because we get to see people criticize where we know more about what actually happened. And you wouldn't be saying that if you understood what happened. All you know is what you've been fed. And that narrative can be anything. You know what I mean?
And this is cross-pollination.
Hey, baby. You know, I had all the jokes, like we were saying, that it's easy to criticize, you know, when you don't know. Like I was saying, I had all the jokes about Britney Spears. I think the same way everybody had little jokes because it was low-hanging fruit. You should get to. Until the first time I had a session. My session was the day after she filed divorce from Kate Faye. Like her first divorce. Maybe her only divorce. I don't know. And just what I saw put everything like into a completely, but
Are you killing me?
you know,
Yeah.
but Britney.
Before you met her,
all the jokes. But after we met, like she came to the studio, but before she walked in, we were in New York. Her bodyguards came in, and we're at Sony, New York before they shut it all down. So it's like they're pretty much an armed guard to get into the front. Then you get through. Then you have to walk through a maze to get to our room, which you have to be buzzed in. And then behind our room, that's where her lounge and bathroom and everything was still in that room.
Yeah.
The guards still had to come in, sweep the room, even though we've been there for hours. Sweep the room, go in, sweep the bathroom, lift all the whatever in the ceiling, tiles, lift those up to make sure no one was up there. And I was like, really? And they were like, you wouldn't believe it. People will just camp out there if they know she's coming. And I was like, so along the way, and Britney at that time, she was the loneliest person I'd ever met in my life. So I'm looking and I'm going, I've got no jokes. You've been doing this since you were a child. You've been a superstar since you were a child. I couldn't have done a year of
drained
this.
her whole
Like
soul.
I would have been going crazy. So I was like, I've got no jokes. If we want to sit here and talk, we can do that. She can't do that. She's never been able to do that. So when people are like, you know, why didn't you ask people? Why didn't you just send someone else to Starbucks? Because I'm an adult and I wanted to go get some Starbucks. So I was like, yo, absolutely no. I think once you get a better understanding, it's like I heard somebody say recently, like understanding is everyththing. Just gain as much knowledge as you can. They were talking about like prejudice and racism. And I think absolutely everyone is prejudiced. I think your life, the way your life is moved, has made us all prejudiced about something or not.
that we don't know. Something that we're not enlightened with.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
And a lot of us, you may have a prejudice, but what makes it awesome is you work to get beyond it. You're like, okay, I know whatever I'm feeling isn't the way I should be feeling. Let me fix that. You know what I mean? But racism, it's different. And they were talking about how and I agree with them. I think people go the wrong way with racism. Like, if I'm racist, or if there's a white dude that's racist, when he meets me and he says something racist, it's, for the most part, it's out of an ignorance. What I should not do is lose my mind and ostracize him, kick him out. You can't be around us, because I'm just validating all the stupid shit that he already thinks he knows. It's very hard to be racist against something you know. Surround yourself with some black people and find out that we're not all the stereotype that you've seen on TV and movies. And it will be way harder to hate black people, because you start realizing they're just people.
They're people. We're all people.
Exactly.
I don't care what culture,
exactly,
or what color your skin.
But in most cases, I feel like what we as people do is fuck him, and then you do all this shit.
Them.
Yeah.
The collective.
The collective.
And now you're like, what?
And now you're just paying it forward solidify what they already think that you
Perpetuating.
Exactly.
So look, everything you've said in this podcast has been, wisdom. Love it. For the up and coming, aspiring songwriter who wants to write a lyricist, primarily a lyricist like yourself. I know you write lyrics, melody. You're still a musician.
Yeah.
What do you have to say? Somebody who wants to get in, man, and figure it out.
I have a couple of things to say. Number one, know your why.
I always say that. I love that one.
Like, know your why. Know your why and figure out the music business, and I'm not even talking about monetary. Not even the music business, the entertainment business. So life in general, I guess, can be expensive. Like, figure out what your price is. Figure out what point you are not willing to go beyond. And I think you will be able to move. You'll be able to move well. You know what I mean? You'll be able to maintain a sense of peace.
Right.
So to me, it's about, at least in keeping your sense, in keeping your sense, because you can go crazy.
Yes.
You have to figure out what success means to you. Like, I have some friends that think success is a bunch of money or a nice car.
Fancy car, fancy house.
To me, success is happiness. You know what I mean? I've turned down a lot of work just because I'm not missing another fucking birthday. Like, be clear, what I do, I like what I do. I would not tell anybody that I love. What I love is the life it gives me the ability to afford. And I'm not just talking financially.
I get it.
If my son has something to go doing on today, I can pick up the phone and be like, hey guys, I'm sorry, I can't make the session.
We're talking about,
and that's on me.
Schedule. That's living day to day, minute, moment to moment.
Yeah. Most people, I think, believe that the money and the cars and the recognition will equal happiness. I thought that in the beginning. I was like, the second they know how dope I am. But when happened, I realized that my family talked about it. They were excited. My publisher was excited. My manager was excited. I was happy, but I was happy because now I could get any meeting that I wanted.
Right.
Like, I was happy because now when I picked up the phone and said I want to talk to Clive, I got a call back.
You could.
Yeah. You know what I mean? And I just learned that I still had that hole that we're all trying to fill. Like, I still had it. I was blessed enough to be dating my best friend. And during that time, like I said, I just try to pay attention. I try to be present in whatever the moment is. I'm not worried about yesterday at all. I try not to obsess over the future. I try to be present in this moment. And what I learned is that I was way happier when I was with Viv than I was with any success or notoriety that I was getting from doing music. You know what I mean? So for me, I think you have to put 10,000 hours in to become good. I buy into that. I put my 10,000 hours into my relationship. Like, I made a judgment call. So for me, music, what I love is the relationships.
That's right.
I love getting to be with friends and do something that's fun. I know a lot of people don't like what they do. So to me, it's know your why. It could be devastating to be chasing something and to catch it, and it is not at all what you thought. That's not what you want. Know your why. After that, when it comes to the actual creative process, for me, it's really simple. Create something that is special to you. I made the mistake in the beginning of trying to write a radio record, writing something that people would like. I had my breakthrough after I had my heart broken for the first real time. And I think the record, I wrote to get shit off my chest. It wasn't even to try to get the records placed. It was just all I knew how to do, pouring out. So I wrote a record called You're Fired. And then I wrote another record called I don't remember what it's called, but it was like, I know the main line was, I ain't fucking with you. It's like, and the production company that I was at heard those songs and called me into a meeting. It was like, clearly, because then nobody was placing anything that had a bunch of curse words in it.
Right. Sure.
But they were like, look, we can't use these, but whatever this is, it's not like your other stuff. I feel this.
We want that energy.
This is where you need to be. Whatever happened, whatever you're doing. And like I said, for me, it just turned into, all right, what is different?
It's transparent.
Mm-hmm.
What you are.
Yeah. So write something that's special to you and let everybody else catch up. It's one of my only issues with the industry now. I think, like, I have a lot of friends like our age that are fussing, it's not real music and it's not. No, I don't believe that. I just believe we're old. Like, if you think back, your parents told you your music wasn't real music. That music is relevant to the kids.
To what it is now.
Right. So that's what it is. So write some shit that is real and special to you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And let everybody else catch up.
Yeah.
The only issue that I have, I'll say, with the industry now is everything sounds alike.
Very simple.
Tell you, if you go back to like Kenny or anybody then,
Yeah.
if Teddy produced a record, or if Jam and Lewis produced a record, or if Kenny produced a
So
record,
different.
but
You
right
can
now,
identify,
you have to ask
Yes.
because everything sounds the same.
Well, when you have a Drake that sets a bar, then all of a sudden everybody wants to be that. So that's where you lose the identity because now they're chasing that,
But
right?
the craziness to me is Drake. I feel like, again, concept. I feel like people learn the wrong lesson.
Mm.
Like
Because he was being himself. Yes.
We had a bunch of shit,
Yes.
and then he went against the tide
Yes.
and did something that was him,
And that blew up
and it blew.
for him.
And people didn't take, yo, we need to be ourselves. They went, okay, we need to be like Drake.
They got the wrong message.
Right. Here,
But that
grasp the
happens.
concept.
Come on.
Oh, it happens
Culture.
all the time.
It just repeats itself.
It happens all the time. I think that's because in a lot of cases, we don't. I love now because there's so much music. But also because of that, there are really no gatekeepers anymore. So I feel like we get fewer artists now. And it may just be because we have so many acts. I believe there are artists and there are acts. We have a lot of acts now.
Good point.
And not as many artists. You know, I feel like things are so contrived that when you mess around and a Adele happens, or a Drake happens, or Beyonce happens, they blow the way they do because inherently we know genuine. We don't know why we like it.
But those are artists.
Yes. It's the same reason that, here's the thing, man, you can go and give me apple flavored anything. But when someone tastes an apple, they're like, yo, this is
amazing.
Good. It's because it's real. We know we like real. It means something to us. We don't necessarily know why we like it.
Yes.
But
It's authentic. It's genuine.
exactly.
Now
Exactly. Exactly. So I think for the young,
There's the lesson.
yeah, for a new person, write something that's real to you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Figure out, and be clear, it is not easy. You know what I mean?
Mm.
It's not easy, which goes back to know your why. If your why is money, bro, get out. This isn't for you.
Yep. Exactly.
If you look at the reality of it, 95% of the people that start out trying to do this will fail. Of the 5% that mess around and get a deal, only 5% of that is going to come out. Now, of the 5% that come out, only 2% are really going to be able to do it on level, to be able to sustain themselves and the family.
Sustainability.
Yeah. So it can't
Never
be
mind
money.
Never mind profitability. Let's
Yes.
talk
Sustainability. Yes. So, and I don't know why a lot of people think that, you know, I'm not going to work a 9 to 5 and I'll do this. Look, bro,
Okay.
this is way more than 40 hours a week.
No, it's like
I don't-
90, 100.
I don't know how many Christmases, Thanksgivings,
Oh.
birthdays that I've missed.
It's so funny because you were joking around the other day we were in the studio.
Yeah.
I said, I got to go pick up my daughter. I got to bounce.
Yeah.
I laid my ideas down.
Yeah.
And then you were like, yo, man, you can't leave this room.
You gotta choose,
There's
man.
no family. And it was so funny because I knew you were joking around, but
Yeah.
I knew exactly what you meant. And that is,
Yes.
how many times have we done that?
Yeah.
But now we're at the space where we can afford to say, hey, you know what? No. I told my daughter I'm picking her up to
Yeah.
go ice skating. That's what I'm doing.
At the end of the day, the
You know.
money is cool. And I don't want to say it's not important. It's absolutely important.
No, it
Like,
is.
we need it.
We need it, believe me.
But it is not the most important thing. Like, my daughter's not going to remember the house we live in.
No.
But she will remember if I wasn't there. That
All
shit
the times
matters.
Daddy was there
Yeah.
doing stuff with her.
I have a friend, well, someone that was a freak. Now, that I heard, like he was talking to his mom, and his mother and his father separated. He was talking to his mom, and she was like, well, your dad said, and I heard him say, he's the same age as my son. I heard him say, Daddy's a liar. He never does anything he says he's going to do. Kids know, bro.
Can you imagine? I can't imagine my daughter saying that. If my daughter said that about me, I would crumble up and die. Like,
right. Absolutely. I never, to be completely honest, I never wanted to be creative. I always wanted to be an executive. I just, being from Alabama, I didn't know how to get there. So I looked at Kenya in LA because they were in Atlanta. They was the closest thing to us.
Makes sense.
So I looked, and from the outside looking in, not knowing much about it, it was, okay, they were artists, then they were writer producers, then they were executives. Okay, that's the plan. That's what I'm going to do. And that's what I started to do. And it just happened to be that when I started writing, I started making money. It was more money than I'd ever made in my life.
Beautiful.
So I was like, all right. Which is why when people say now, but you're not passionate about it, I enjoy it. But it was never the plan. It was never the plan. So I just...
You're still a gift. I will take that. This has been amazing, man. Thank you so much.
Oh, bro, absolutely.
And everybody can find you online at JQ Smith.
Yeah.
And at
JQ Smith on Instagram. Pretty much on everything. And at Dad Against Dad Bod.
So it's singular. Dad against Dad Bod.
Yeah.
I love it. It is amazing. And I love how similar our paths have been.
Absolutely.
Especially now with the health, awareness and everything. I appreciate it.
Oh, bro, absolutely.
Ladies and gentlemen, JQ Smith.
Thank you.
Help us continue to provide you with new and engaging content by getting our ratings up. Please subscribe and leave a review on Apple Podcasts.
Subscribe to the brand new Career Musician YouTube channel, now streaming all of the Career Musician podcast episodes.
I'm just a nomad, nowhere man, writing the songs in this one-man band. A nomad. Darling, you'll be fine. I'll be back this way sometime. Until then, baby, don't you cry.
Hey, this is Nomad, host and creator of the Career Musician Podcast, and I am thoroughly stoked to be an official member of the Pantheon Podcast Network. Pantheon Podcast Network is the first of its kind as an all-music-based podcast collective. Please be sure to check us out at pantheonpodcast.com for more info.